been thinking about ways to open a dialogue with people who disagree with my political views. It used to be that this wasn't difficult or unusual at all. The world is totally polarized and no one is listening anymore. So I would especially like those who disagree with me to listen and respond, because if we could find some common ground, we might actually get something done. Problem is, we're running out of time. I just hope it's not too late already. Now, I know that sounds like a sales pitch, but I promise it isn't. I hate sales pitches, making them and hearing them both. Is it just me, or is someone always trying to sell you something? Well, aggressive sales strategies are a product of ambition. And man, the shit they've been trying to sell me for the last few months is just downright whack. Not my kind of ambition. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently wrong with ambition. It's an admirable quality. I just especially admire those whose ambition serves their sense of empathy. People who live like that are the best kind of people. If you're one of those people, conservative, liberal, or something else entirely, then this video is for you. Please hear me out. And those of you who live that way and also truly understand the why of it, you are the people who are richer than the wealthiest man alive. You are the people who should be remaking our world, not billionaires and greasy politicians and their throngs of zombie lawyers. I'm going to be honest with you, the future kind of worries me. We're running low on compassion these days. We have wildfires of hate burning around the globe. Indulge me in an analogy, if you will. Or maybe it's a parable. Or maybe it's an allegory. I don't know. Let's just call it a hypothetical situation. Let's say you have three problems at once. Your first problem is that you are, let's say, dissatisfied with your sex life. Now, this is a very important problem. There are very real quality of life issues on the line here. You know, you're not going to die from it, but you're not fully satisfied. You long for more, something different. You have unresolved hungers. You have fantasies to realize. It's not exactly a life or death crisis, but it's pretty high on the priority list. The second problem is a bit more pressing. Let's say that you're extremely dehydrated and there's a very real likelihood that you're going to die if you don't get something to drink in the next couple of hours. Water is scarce and you need to move quickly. You're certain you can find it, but you don't know exactly where to start looking. You need to be doing some research right away. You're very thirsty and you're scared for your survival. You can't afford to wait. You're going to want to deal with this problem immediately. There's no difficulty here in seeing which problem is more urgent. If you would deal with the first problem first, then this video isn't for you. You can just go get laid. Anyway, right as you're about to get started working on your short-term survival, a third problem arises. You just learned that something is about to happen any second now that will slowly, over a period of months, completely deplete the world's supply of fresh water and would eliminate all means by which we might replenish it. If nothing is done, you and everyone you care about will die in terrible ways, but in the more distant future. Yet to prevent it, you must act immediately. Each tick of the clock might make it too late. The temptation here, of course, is to focus on the second problem first. The consequence of that failure is the most immediate, dead by morning or dead in months. But if you're a thinker, if you're a true visionary, then you realize that the third problem is the one you must prioritize, even at your own immediate peril. At this point, you're probably out there thinking, damn, this dude has a really morbid imagination. Unfortunately, I don't. I only wish I could offer you that kind of comfort. This situation is not purely hypothetical. Because if I were the American democracy, these are precisely the problems I would be facing right now. I'm not even joking. Let me break it down for you. I'll play the role of a 250-year-old democracy, and you be me. So when I speak in the first person, I'm talking about American democracy. And when I speak in the second person, that's me talking. We're sort of reversing roles for illustrative purposes. I'm the United States democracy, and I'm dealing with these things. First, the dull sex life. I remember the good old days, sowing my wild democratic oats. American democracy isn't so old or far gone that it can't remember holding down some cute oppressive government. I'd just shove their face in the pillow and kick their legs open and conduct a little invasion, you know, leave some glowing handprints on that booty while I plant the seeds of democracy in there nice and deep. Oh, they might have squirmed and complained about it right at first, but if you know what you're doing, it ain't long before no becomes oh, and then before you know it, they're chanting the name of the one true God. Then in the ensuing time, they're begging for more while I crash at their place and treat them like a whore and tear up their shit and drink up all the oil. They'll be sulking and giving me some damn guilt trip while I'm out spreading democracy in some other brown-skinned region of the world. I haven't been getting as much of this kind of action lately, and I can't help but long for those days when I devoted immeasurable sums of energy into my all-consuming urge to penetrate things. Some might call it rape, but that's really an oversimplification. I always did it in a way that made them think they enjoy it. I'm not a monster, after all. Unfortunately, it just so happens that these reminiscent urges are coming at a time when I'm dry like a desert inside. My lips are split like sun-scorched mud, and it's become extremely difficult to speak. Dangerous, even. Every option at hand feels like a stroll across the Bonneville salt flats. Everything is urgent and expensive. And if I don't find a way to make it rain before the end of the day, then my problems will all go away in a very unpleasant and immediate fashion. Now, we could discuss the hows and the whys, I suppose, but it'd be a colossal waste of precious time that, as much as I'd love to have it, I simply don't. Things have gotten out of hand, and survival trumps blame every single time. And yes, that pun was intended. So here I am, all dressed up in red, white, and blue, trying to find what I need to survive another day. Just being alive, saying the things I really want to say without worrying about it costing me everything. Voting for representation, conducting my affairs with constitutional protections, that kind of thing. But I'm dealing with blurred vision or macular degeneration or whatever it is when your eyes are open and you see a very real problem standing there right in front of you, plain as day, yet you somehow can't fully see it. Or maybe seeing it unclearly causes you to act in ways that can only be explained by some kind of partial blindness or maybe some incipient dementia. I honestly don't know, but these are urgent things I'm dealing with when all of a sudden you come up in here with your big ass mouth all gibbering and jabbering and interrupting me while I'm hustling to save the day. I'm trying to be a hero and solve the problems I've created. Only now you interrupt me and you piss me the fuck off for real because you come at the worst possible time with this urgent news. Here I am, dying of thirst, and you hit me with this goddamn cancer diagnosis. You say these crazy things that foretell my death, and as much as I wish I could deny it, I got to admit that this is impossibly and actually more important yet than my own impending doom. I only hope that I survive long enough to have the chance to explain to you in excruciating detail how much this shit really pisses me off. But first things first. You're talking to me about the very real possibility of federal judges dying on the vine if they don't toe the line. And what? Nothing's been done about it? And you're saying that you've seen thunderheads consolidating their power overhead, court orders ignored, rights violated, entire branches of the federal government dressed down and emasculated, federal agencies vaporized, law enforcement weaponized, crazy-ass storm clouds are forming. And you're subjecting me to this downpour of shitty landslide-inducing weather forecasts, and now you want my help boarding up the windows. Right now, this minute. Are you hearing yourself? Meanwhile, you let me in on the reality that Congress and the Senate lie pale and weak, arms outstretched, too tired or frightened or too stupid to speak, while the executive branch hunches over them like some bat-winged phlebotomist or some giant flying bedbugs laying eggs and minds long occupied and shit-stained with patriot acts and propaganda. You're going on about fiats carried out on one man's whim while all the supposed heroes wearing ties and robes shiver and cry like a bunch of scary little bitches. He'll be mean to us, they whimper. Well, yes, I must confess, he is most definitely a man who wipes his ass with his never-ending shit list. It trails along behind him like a translucent roll of super cheap single ply. And meanwhile, all the stupid pussy-ass elected motherfuckers sucking their little thumbs with the same dirty lying mouths they've been tossing salad with since 2016. So the alternative, I suppose, is the conclusion to this whole experiment we call freedom. It'll be over pretty soon if we don't immediately recognize the truth that gravity will not, as it has threatened, put our dreams and hopes 6 feet into the ground just because we understand it and do things that work against it. We allow gravity to serve us when it works to our advantage. This is in the case of building monuments, organizing cabinets, and just knowing which way to bend when taking a highly pressurized semi-liquid shit. And when gravity doesn't help us, we work around it. We take up arms against it. We walk or run or swim to the surface, or we invent airplanes and fly away while gravity just watches in stupefied awe and fails to really be grave at all because it's powerless to stop us from living. Until now. Now we stand at the threshold of losing everything. Nothing's permanent until it is. And this is going to be permanent any fucking second. So if you'll do me a favor, if you'll kindly promise to intercede on my behalf and put some brakes on all this rhymeless orange energy that's been going around, I just need to get a drink real quick. And then I'll do whatever I can to help you educate this leader of the free world about the survival needs of freedom and democracy. Don't forget, I'm the voice of democracy in this thing. But so are you. And also don't forget, you're me in this exercise. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. I don't care what you think about immigration or tariffs or trans athletes or the Roe v. Wade situation. Fuck, Roe v. Wade might be alternative ways we can get out of these salty waters we're trapped in. The problem is not what Donald Trump is doing. Immigration, economy, discrimination, etc. Those are short-term problems we can agree to disagree on. We can agree to disagree on those things right now because whatever the outcome, by proceeding methodically and within the rules set forth in the Constitution, our freedom is protected. They're going to have long-term solutions. The problem isn't what he's doing. The problem is how he's doing it. That's the most insidious difficulty because it's a much, much larger, longer-term problem that can only be solved with immediate, decisive, short-term solutions. He's consolidating power. It would be blind and idiotic to argue otherwise. We have entered a constitutional crisis. This isn't just left-wing histrionics, okay? Lots of conservatives capable of long-term thinking agree with me on this. Whether you like what he's doing or not, you cannot effectively argue in favor of how he's doing it. Not if you believe in the Constitution, not if you believe in freedom, not just for ourselves, but also for those who survive us. If you endow the executive branch with the power of a king, sooner or later, fate's going to hand you a Caligula or a Richard II or some monster who will abuse that power and bring suffering and misery to your children and grandchildren. Mark my words, this is an existential threat, unprecedented in my lifetime. For now, we still have the power to fix it. The system exists as it is for a reason. So please, something must be done to stop Donald Trump so that democracy can find something to drink, so it can go on living until tomorrow and get down to the business of survival.